Hi everyone and welcome to Billy Fitzgerald Golf, and today I want to talk about your transition trigger. So transition is when you change directions and start going back into the golf ball. So what is it that makes this first move going back down into the ball? I can tell you what I see a lot is trail side, either trail hip or hands and arms coming straight out of the top. So what that's typically going to get us is really too steep and too close into the ball. So from down the line, what I mean is if I set up to the golf ball here and I swing back and out of my transition, if my transition trigger, the first off, which is probably what I see the most, is right hip. So if we get right here and my transition trigger is right hip, you can see my arms get really steep, and so a number of things have got to happen. First, I got to figure out how to shallow the golf club out. Typically, my lower body has to stop so I can figure out how to get the face on the ball. All of which is not too great. It's not ideal, but it's probably what I see the most. Is people are really quick to get off of their right side here and off their right side, really crowding the ball. And it makes golf really hard to play golf that way. The other thing I would say that I see is throwing or swinging your hands from the top. So once you get, again, in transition here, I just swing right over the top. So again, both of those are going to be over the top and very steep. So we've got to find another way or trigger to transition into this ball that A, gives me a little bit more space to come into the ball so I can get into my impact position, because neither one of those are going to be able to get me into my impact position, which would be, again, left hip socket out of the way, right hip starting to move forward but not into, so this right arm can get on the side of the shaft. And you can see I've got a little tilt because of this hip. This left side goes up a little bit, so that's where impact is. So we've got to find another way to trigger that in your transition. So we need to work with this left side, your left leg, left foot, left knee, how it pushes your hip out of the way. So again, in transition, this is why there's no top of swing. So you're actually going to start to blend this a little bit. So your arms will still be going back as you start to transition into the ball. So if I go ahead and set up here, and I swing back, and I get behind to the ball, and then I transition with my left leg, you can start to see how there's almost a sit, and my arms start to come into the ball. That transition is left leg, left knee, left thigh is pushing my hip out of the way, so it starts a chain reaction. Now, it actually starts a little bit before my arms are even done at the top, changing directions. So from face on, as I swing back, and the club's getting back away from me, and I start to turn and get enough room so my arms can come in, I already start to transition into the ball. And what starts this is this left leg, this left foot, left knee, left thigh. So once I get back here, and the club gets going towards the target again, which puts me back on my left leg, I push away and let my arms come down. Push away and let my arms come down, which looks a lot different than me getting here and firing my right hip, or me getting here and making my arms go. So you typically do not want this triggering your transition, my right side, my arms, anything on the trail side of me, because it's going to come up into the ball. You want it happening from the front. So your transition trigger is going to be from the front. It's going to be that lead foot, knee, thigh. So if we made a few swings in slow motion, you can see how it actually makes me almost sit here. And as I push back, it pushes me away from the ball and it lets my arms go. So if I made just a few swings here in slow motion so you can see this. So it's back and I push, and that first initial push gets me back and away, and it starts pushing me away and into my impact position. So if I did one slow, you can see how it pushes me back into my impact position there, and it pushes me into impact. So let's hit a little one. And so you don't have to wait till everything is completed up here to go. Once I've gotten behind the ball and turn, I'm going to start letting my left leg trigger my downswing. So once I get here and get behind it again, and let that left leg trigger my downswing. So again, it's important to know what triggers that transition or triggers you back into the golf ball. I would suggest not coming from the trail side, whether it be your hands, your right hip. It's got to come from this lead leg. So what that does, allows the club to shallow out and get me away from the ball and get the club going into the strike area. So it'll also help with your rhythm and not getting too quick up top. So try this transition trigger. It's again from the front side, not the rear, and hopefully it gives you a little bit more room to swing, and it'll make this a lot easier, make your golf game a lot more playable. Hi everyone, like and subscribe to my channel, Billy Fitzgerald Golf, for all tips on golf. If you'd like a live lesson or want to send me a message, visit me at billyfitzgeraldgolf.com.